You watch an event on TV, you see them miss it a little long, a little short, a little left, a little right, but you very rarely see them snap hook a ball out of bounds or hit one fat. That's almost unheard of amongst these elite players, because they're able to make their swing not dependent on timing. I always get a chuckle when I hear somebody say, oh, my timing was off today. And if it were up to me, I don't want a swing that's dependent on timing, because you're never going to be able to make a complex motion like a golf swing the same every time. And so anything we can do to minimize those moving parts, it's only going to help you make more consistent contact.
Golf Smarter, number 746, is brought to you by Cryofreeze Cbd Pain Relief Roll-On by Omax Health. Get 20% off Pain Relief Roll-On and free shipping with Golf Smarter at checkout at omaxhealth.com. Getting the most out of your video online golf lessons. Tips and tricks with Brant Kasbohm.
This is Golf Smarter, sharing stories, tips, and insights from great golf minds to help you lower your score and raise your golf IQ. Here's your host, Fred Green.
Welcome back to the Golf Smarter podcast, Brant.
Thanks for having me, Fred.
Hey, it's been too long. Well, you were on in 2011.
Yeah.
Episode 269. And you're also celebrating an anniversary of being online, right?
Yeah, we started my business, fixyourgame.com, back in June of 2010. So you had me on back in February 2011, not long after we launched the website, fixyourgame.com. So where we do online golf lessons. That's the exclusive thing we do. So,
and I've heard you and seen that you've been on a lot of podcasts since our first time that we spoke. You've been quite prolific in getting in on podcasting. Well, good for you. Good for
Thank you.
If you ever want to do your own, give me a call. I'll help you produce that. So what is fixyourgame.com? Let me say it this way. I'm sorry, but what did fixyourgame.com start out to be in 2010?
Yeah, back prior to 2010, I was in a seminar on golf instruction and for some continuing education hours, and it hit me that even back at that time, all of the elite players in the world were videoing their swings, emailing the videos back and forth to their instructors when they couldn't have their instructor with them. Not only the elite tour guys, but college guys, and a lot of people were already deep into the video golf lesson or the online golf lesson, but it wasn't really available to the quote unquote average golfer at that time, where someone could just record their swing, upload it to an instructor, get a lesson in a format that they could view, a format that they could take home with them. So that's what the thought process of starting it back at that time was. And since then, online lessons have only grown. There's only been more ways to capture video. I mean, we all carry around a high def video camera with us everywhere we go, and the
4K video in your pocket.
The quality of these, the video that you get from phones is just fantastic, and
mind blowing. I think.
Yeah, and more instructors are doing this too, and it's a great way to stay in touch with students and allow people that here in Wisconsin, we don't get to play golf for several months of the year, and it's a way to stay fresh, in the off season, or if someone doesn't have a pro local to them, or for whatever reason, it's very convenient and easy to send videos back and forth nowadays.
So how has it evolved in 10 years?
The amount of video or the amount of ability to film video, whereas, back when I first started 10 years ago, there was still a lot of separate, cameras. People weren't always filming video on their phones. It was, on digital cameras at that time, and then you'd pop the SD card into your computer and upload a video that way. Now it's directly from your phone. The quality of the video has gone up dramatically, both in the resolution and also the ability to film in slow motion, which you had to have a specialized camera to do that years ago, where now standard iPhones, standard Android phones can film in a faster shutter speed, and I think it's gotten more acceptance too of taking lessons online like this has gotten a broader acceptance amongst average golfers than 10 years ago. I think it was more of maybe a novelty. Maybe that's not the right word, but it was much more unique 10 years ago. And now I think it's much more widely accepted. A lot of the, I'd say most of the, big name instructors out there offer some sort of online or video or remote lesson. And it's gotten very broad acceptance now.
Right. But is it a broad acceptance from a younger generation, or are us old guys accepting video and utilizing it as well?
I think so. I think one thing that is accepted amongst is people who haven't or won't take face-to-face golf lessons. About 2/3 of my students have never taken a golf lesson before. Wow. And so that's a question I ask everybody is, have you taken lessons before? Are you working with somebody? And so it's about 2/3 have never taken a golf lesson before. So I think there's a level of anonymity of taking an online lesson. I think people sometimes are embarrassed to go to a pro. I think they think sometimes they're going to get screwed up if they go to take a lesson from a pro. And so I think it's a way. It might be an entry level type golf lesson for someone who isn't familiar with taking golf lessons face to face.
And for people who've never taken a golf lesson and are now coming to you online, do they have realistic expectations?
That's hard to say. People's expectations are what they are. And I think a lot of times people do have unrealistic expectations. That's one reason why I love working with beginning golfers, because honestly, Fred, if someone's a beginner golfer, never touched a golf club in their life, their goals are going to be more realistic. I can teach that person to get a golf ball and hit it off the ground, get a ball airborne. I'm pretty confident enough that I can make happen. But when that guy comes to me and says, yeah, I want to hit my 5-iron 200 yards with a little draw, that might not be realistic for that person or for anybody for that matter. So
yeah, right.
It's hard to say what people's expectations are. I do ask people what their goals are. And sometimes people's goals are, hey, I just want to avoid hitting that one shot. I'll have a good round going and I'll snap hook one out of bounds and it blows up my round. And so, people's expectations sometimes are unrealistic, but I don't know how to change that. What do you think?
Right. Yeah. With these people that want to know that, I don't know, it seems like people like, hey, I've never had a golf lesson and I've got this charity tournament coming up this weekend. Fix me. Like, where do we start?
Yeah. But those types of expectations aren't unique to doing online golf lessons. I would think if you asked the bullpen full of guests that you've had on your podcasts that are, great instructors, I would say they fight with people with high expectations as well. And, one of the things that I see regularly in these lessons too is looking at video is, people's physical capabilities aren't up to what they think they are. A lot of times, a lot of people just aren't capable of making the type of athletic motion that they think they are. They don't have the strength, the flexibility that they need to make the type of golf swing that they want to. And so, that's something I find myself talking about more and more over the years is, increasing strength and flexibility, especially through the core, especially through the core of the body and the rear end and upper part of your legs. And it's something I find myself talking about all the time because more and more people I'm seeing just aren't capable of making that type of athletic motion.
That's interesting. So they like almost everything else in golf, ego gets in the way.
Of course.
Right?
Of course, yeah. We all think we hit it farther than we do. We all think that just because I careered one shot and hit a 7-iron 175 yards, that's what I do all the time. And
even if you don't think I'm going to do that every time, I got to factor in that 175 yard 7-iron shot. it's like, you're going downhill with the wind behind you. Don't even think about that.
Right. And that goes into a whole different thing about course management, which is more of coaching versus instruction. You have to, when you're on the course, and this is something I don't get to do that much anymore, because normally I'm just looking at someone's golf swing and trying to figure them out and figure out, how to get them to make a better motion. I don't get to do as much coaching as I have in the past, but you want to play the game to where you maximize your margin for error. And so that's something that, we talk about course management and managing someone's expectations. They have to realize what the shot is and how to play that to maximize their margin for error. You want to give them, we all know that even the best well-struck shot, you're not going to knock it to 2 feet every time. Even a good shot, you might be 30, 40 feet away. You got to maximize that, so that if you miss by a few, percentage points, if you're off by 5%, that leaves you a playable shot for your next one.
Interesting. Hey, listen, we're going to take a quick time out, and we're here talking to Brant Kasbohm, talking about taking video online golf lessons. But first, I want to tell you about Omax Health. So when I play a round of golf, I try to get to the course about an hour early. And first thing I do is unload my push cart, and I load up the bag, clip on the GPS system. I put on sunscreen, and then I take my Omax Health Cryofreeze Cbd Roll-On and put it in specific spots, because, golfers have aches and pains. They're probably as common to golf as lost golf balls, right? Aches and pains. But living with chronic pain is absolutely the worst. But the normal aches and pains that you get from golf, I'm telling you, you can take care of that pre-round for yourself with the Cryofreeze Cbd Roll-On from Omax Health. So once I put that on, then I go over, I do some short game for a while, and then I move over and go to the driving range, work on a couple clubs, then go back and do some putting, and then I tee off. And by the time I tee off, I'm not concerned about getting a good turn in on my first drive, because the lower back stuff, I've taken care of that already, because I'm using the Cryofreeze Cbd Roll-On developed by Omax Health. And this non-prescription triple-action pain relief roll-on is specially formulated to block pain receptors, reduce inflammation, and improve muscle and joint flexibility. Now, the best part is it's 100% natural. The CBD-powered remedy works its magic within 10 minutes. Well, by 10 minutes, you didn't even know that you had pain. It blows my mind because it lasts the full round of golf, and then afterwards, it can last up to 8 hours, which is much longer than over-the-counter products. So, Omax Health is offering Golf Smarter listeners 20% off a full bottle of Cryofreeze CBD Pain Relief Roll-On, plus free shipping. Now, this discount also applies towards any product they have at omaxhealth.com. So just go to omaxhealth.com, that's O-M-A-X health.com. Go there today and enter Golf Smarter, one word. That's O-M-A-X health.com. Omax Health, enter Golf Smarter to get 20% off Cryofreeze and anything site-wide. We thank them so much for their continued support and for the relief of the pain. Woof, that one's huge. Brent, in giving online lessons, everyone, of course, is looking for consistency. That's probably the first thing they want. I want to be more consistent. And you'll say to them, well, what was your last score? Or what have you been shooting? Oh, I'll shoot a 48-48. Well, you're consistent, and I shoot usually, in the mid-90s. Well, you're consistent. What's the problem, right? Now, what do you do with that?
Well, yeah, I look at...
What are they asking for when they say consistency?
Yeah, when everybody wants consistent, they mean consistently good. They want to be consistently better than where they are, And so what I look at is that ties into people's posture. And when I see people changing their posture during the swing, you're adding moving parts into the swing. And so ideally, you want to minimize the number of moving parts that you have. If you've got additional moving parts, that's inherently inconsistent. And then you're going to have to rely on timing in order for you to deliver that club to the ball in any kind of consistent pattern. And I see people's posture changing in the swing. Almost every single person, people lift up, come out of their postures. They swing the club back. They have what they call early spine extension, where your hips move towards the ball as you transition into the downswing. And all of those are, I can't say it enough or emphasize it enough that it's going to be extremely difficult to consistently make contact with the ball if you've got major changes in your posture. And just think of how small the sweet spot of that club is, and how we forget about how small the ball is. And if I'm off by even a quarter of an inch, that makes it,
small fraction.
If you're off by a quarter of an inch, that's the difference between, that could be 20 yards with a driver. That could be a missed green with a 7-iron. And if you're off by even more than that, if you're off by 2 inches, well, now you've just hit it fat and you've laid sod over top of the ball, or you've bladed your sand wedge over the green or topped one. And so I find myself talking about this with students because it's something that you can see in video. You can see somebody coming up and out of their posture. You can see their spine angle changing during the swing. And if you look at the elite players, and of course there's always exceptions, but the majority of these guys and gals, they just rotate their torso and rotate their hips around a consistent spine angle and a consistent posture. And they're able to deliver that club the same spot every single time, and you don't see those horrible mishits from these elite players that you do with some of the higher handicappers. You watch an event on TV, you see them miss it a little long, a little short, a little left, a little right, but you very rarely see them, snap hook a ball out of bounds or hit one, or hit one fat. That's almost unheard of amongst these elite players, because they're able to make their swing not dependent on timing. And so I always get a chuckle when I hear somebody say, my timing was off today. And it's like, if it were up to me, I don't want a swing that's dependent on timing, because you're never going to be able to make a complex motion like a golf swing the same every time. And so if anything we can do to minimize those moving parts, it's only going to help you make more consistent contact.
So interesting. It's like people go, "Oh, I lifted my head." Really? Is that what you lifted? Because I have had a teacher say, no, they lifted their back. It was the whole back. It wasn't.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that more. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, because, and this is the kind of thing that not only an instructor, but you can see on your own video. Mm-hmm. You can see if you have a good angle, and we'll talk about best ways to video. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you're looking at video of yourself, you'll see a lot of movement.
Correct. Yeah.
That's not just your head.
Yep. That's one of the killers is people keep your head down, keep your head still. You look at the Jack Nicklaus, the best player of all time. You can see his head turn and move as he swings the club back. It's the golf swing is a very dynamic movement. So you're never going to be able to keep your head perfectly still or perfectly down during the swing. So I really struggle with that. I want people to maintain their posture and focus on just rotating around a stable core, a stable spine angle, not worry so much about if their head is changing position.
Are you a yoga guy?
Not really, no.
Well, I'm just, I found it helps strengthen the core. It helps keep me loose, right? It loosens me up. And even lower back stuff, everything just kind of strengthens it all and loosens it all. I find it one of the most helpful things for golf I've ever done.
Yeah, I always try to be cautious because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physical therapist. So I don't recommend specific exercises, but I know people benefit from yoga, and it's been great. And if that helps people increase their strength and flexibility in their core, then I'm all for it.
Hey, I'm not a golf instructor, and people thank me for helping their game all the time. So say whatever you want. It's like, I've got this thing you can probably see behind me. It says PGA in big letters, and it has nothing to do with me being an instructor. It says that once I got a hole in one in 2009.
Nice.
It's really, it's a facade. It's a thing. So how do you feel about teachers that have these starting positions that eliminates a lot of movement? It's like, a guy named Jim Vanettis who talks about stillness. And he's got you started practically in a position where you don't even have to do your backswing. You just start up here. And that's not what Vanettis does. I know that. And please don't write. No, you can write to me and talk. But I mean, his whole thing about, being in a position where you're eliminating movement. And he does talk about stillness.
Yep. Anything that we can do to eliminate excess movement is only going to help your swing. And, I find myself talking about balance a lot too. And, it's one of the reasons why these elite golfers, they look so effortless, is because they're in balance throughout their entire swing. They have no wasted energy to maintain balance, and I use the comparison to if I'm walking down the street and I stub my toe and start to fall down, I'm not going to look graceful doing that. Your arms and legs are going to be flailing. Your body's going to do whatever it can in and of itself to maintain its balance. And that's true in golf swing too. So if you're out of balance, your body's going to naturally make those extra movements necessary to keep it in balance. And so again, anytime we're making extra movements, that's additional things that can go wrong. And conversely, additional things that have to go just right for you to strike the ball solidly.
Balance is a huge one. It comes up a lot in these conversations, and I know that I've struggled with that, where I've had, especially with my driver. I guess I'm over swinging because I will regularly come out of my shoes and just be somewhere else at the end of my swing than when I started.
Yeah, almost everybody tries to kill it. Everyone. I mean, it's. Right. And you can only hit it as far as you can hit it, right? I mean,
right.
I'm not built like Bryson DeChambeau.
Nobody is right now.
I know.
What the hell was that?
I'm not built like these guys. So, I mean, there's a limit to how far you can hit it. And I don't care, you can have the latest, greatest technology. There's a limit to how far your body is capable of swinging the club. And, trying to exceed that, that's only going to hurt you. And I get the modern stats people that say hit it as far as you possibly can. And there's a lot of truth to that. But, you don't want to swing so hard that you're falling down or swing so hard that you're out of control. I don't see the benefit there at all.
But when I find that I swing easy, like this weekend, if it's breezy, swing easy. So I had some easier swings and it was much more fluid. I stayed in balance. The ball went farther. Right? When I'm just not trying to, there's a difference between swinging fast and swinging hard.
Correct? Yep, of course. Yeah, golf's a speed game. Yeah. That. I mean, golf's a speed game. It's about getting that club to the ball as fast as possible. It's not necessarily a power game. You know what I mean? If you look at the elite golfers, they're not built like power lifters. You look at guys like Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy.
You just talked about DeChambeau.
He's a bit of a different animal.
I'm thinking about his body, and it's like I'm now.
Yeah, I mean, I watched him at Colonial. And he's definitely and getting big like that, or adding all that muscle that gives him the base, that baseline to draw from that, he wouldn't have if he was, 30 pounds shorter. But at the same time, you look at the broad spectrum of the elite players, both men and women, they're athletic, they're flexible, they're able to generate a lot of speed without, they're not built like power lifters. Look at Rory McIlroy. He's not built like a power lifter. He's strong and fit and athletic. Justin Rose, Dustin Johnson, these guys that hit it a mile. Bubba Watson. I mean, look at him. He's he's skinny as a rail, and he hits it a mile. So there is something about being able to generate speed and having that that fast twitch motion that's different than being able to squat 400 pounds.
All right, we're going to take another time out, and we're going to do some steroids during the break, and then we'll be back.
We'll get a protein shake.
Yeah, exactly. More with Brant Kasbohm right after this. I want to talk about this idea of taking video online, online videos so that you can share it with a teacher. But before we even share it with a teacher, let's learn how to take a good video, because I'm sure you're seeing the gamut of good to ridiculous.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've been doing this for 10 years and seen thousands of videos, and there's definitely some that are better than others. And if you're taking the time to video your swing and buy online golf lessons, you want to get your money's worth and you want to maximize it. So the advice that I would have for people in videoing their swing, most importantly, zoom in the camera. You want to have your entire body fill the frame of the video. Me personally, I'm not so much interested in what the club is doing during the swing. I want to know what your body is doing during the swing. So I want to zoom in on you. I want to see your body, and I can look at the positions of your hands and such, but sometimes I'll get videos that are zoomed out, and then I'll have to zoom in on them when I plug them into my software, and that can pixelate the video so it's not as clear if you have to zoom in quite a bit. So zoom in as much as you can.
Wait. I want to stop you on that, because I'm shocked, because anytime I've wanted to take video of my swing, I want to make sure that I get the club at the top of the swing. But you're saying you want to see my hands at the top of the swing, not necessarily the club.
Yes. Yep.
And so, okay, so let's start from the top. Now working our way down. Do you want to see my feet?
Yes.
Or do you want it to?
I'd like to see where the ball is, because I want to be able to check your ball position. I want to check your alignment. So I want to see good square angles with the camera too. I'd like to see the camera at chest height. Ideally, if someone's got a tripod, that works great. I know that not many people do. So if someone else is holding the camera, it doesn't have to be perfectly still, but if someone's holding the camera at chest height, that's perfect. And I want to see a video, face on. So, looking right at the buttons on your shirt, and then also that video down the target line, so I can see what your alignment is as well. So the good square angles on the video is very helpful for your instructor. High definition isn't really necessary for what we're doing as far as looking at videos for a online golf lesson. And sometimes filming in high def creates a very large file size, which can make it very difficult to email or upload and download. So I don't require, you don't necessarily need it to be in high def. File size is kind of the key. You don't want the file to get huge. Along that line too, I ask people 3 or 4 swings is usually good enough to get a good idea of what someone's swing is doing. Sometimes people will send me a video of their whole 45-minute practice session, and that can be a large bulky file to have to maneuver around. So just 3 or 4 swings is good for your instructor to get a good idea what you're doing in the swing.
Oh, that's interesting, because I was thinking, should you just send a swing, or should you send multiple files with, each one swing at a time? Or do you want to see a couple swings? And it's not, scrape and hit at the range. You can take your time and do your setup if that's what works best for you, your pre-shot routine. But 3 or 4 swings per file is acceptable? Yep,
that works great. I'd like to see more than one swing, because then that tells me what kind of repeatability the student has. If a guy takes 2 swings and they look both dramatically different, it's hard. it can be hard to know what exactly is going on in that swing.
Best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, right. I do see that sometimes people say, don't look at that first swing, look at the second one.
But it's important to look at the first one.
Of course, right. And and to that end too, I always want someone to be hitting a ball. I'll get videos of people just swinging a club in their living room or in their garage without a ball. And we all know that your practice swing is different than the swing you have when there's a ball there. And so anytime even if it's a wiffle ball in your backyard or a tennis ball in your backyard, whatever it is, your swing's different when there's a ball there. That's the moment of truth. We all know our practice swings are different, for better or for worse.
How many times do people are saying, "Oh, I'm a scratch golfer on the range," and then I get out to the first tee,
of course,
everything changes.
When you put the ball there, then there's a moment of truth. Yeah, and it's different than your practice swing. So it doesn't have to, it doesn't have to be a real live golf ball on a driving range or on the course. But if you got a wiffle ball, it's your swing's different. So we really want to know. Your instructor wants to help you, wants you to get better. So we want to see what you're actually doing as close to realistically as possible.
Wow. All right. So then you're showing from your feet up to the top of your hands. Mm-hmm. At the top of your swing, your hands. You don't necessarily have to see the club. Give me enough wide enough so on your back swing you get that. That's good to know. Mm-hmm. Now there's settings. Let's get a little technical here. Some people this won't register, but a lot of people it will. And on your phone, there's 720, 1080, 2.7K, 4K. 1080p is probably acceptable. 720's probably not as sharp that you'd want. And 2K or 4K is overkill. It just creates a large file size.
Correct.
Makes it easier to zoom in, but it creates a large file size. And you want 60 frames a second? You want 30 frames? You want 120 or 240? Because now phones are giving you that super slow-mo at 240 frames and maybe even more.
60 frames works great. And generally, that's the other reason why it's good to have 3 or 4 swings, because then if it's at 60 frames a second, then you can usually get between 3 or 4 swings. There'll usually be one where there's a good still or good slow-mo where I can stop it right at impact. That's always a great thing to look at. So it doesn't have to be 120 frames or 240. That it's really file size is the key. If doing that, it's going to increase the file size. It's going to make it real difficult to upload and download the videos and make them kind of bulky to work with. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to do a little public service here for most of the people, not all the people, because I have an iPhone in my hand. I don't have current Android. I had Android a while ago, but I don't have it currently, so I can't help you there. But if you're not sure what your video is shooting at, and you do want to send something, or you even want to look at your own, here's what you do. You go to settings in your iPhone, and then you scroll down till you get to camera in your settings. And that will be, there's a section there. It's music, TV, photos, camera. And you'll see record video. It's like the 4th one down. And you can go, like I said, 720, 1080 at 30 frames, 1080 at 60 frames, and then they have 4K at 24, 30, or 60 frames. Frames being FPS, it's frames per second. 60 frames per second is great because it allows you to look at slow-mo fine. So for shooting, if you're going to be sending it to a teacher, 1080p at 60 frames a second is what you want to do. And then the next thing you want to see there, to record slow-mo, you have an opportunity of 120 or 240. Do you prefer one over the other?
Not necessarily, no. Those are both very, very good to take a look at.
240 makes the file large and slow.
Right. Yeah, and if you're going to do 240, then it might be better to only do 1 or 2 swings versus if you do it at 60 FPS, then you can do a few more swings on there.
Yeah, good. All right. And then you want to probably record at most compatible when it comes in the camera section there. It'll have formats, and you can do most compatible or high efficiency. I'm not really sure what those two mean.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I know that my software works with all of the major types of video formats. So
that works. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So it's fixyourgame.com. I need to know, before I even finish this up, I love to ask people about pet peeves lately. And not just pet peeves on the golf course. What are the pet peeves you have with students?
Well, we touched a little bit on unrealistic expectations. That's one of them. As far as other maybe pet peeves go, lack of practice is one where, instructors worldwide will tell you, do a lesson with someone, then a week later they want to do another lesson and nothing's changed. It takes time and repetition for us to learn. That's the only way that humans learn anything. So, if you take a lesson and then come back a week later and you haven't practiced, we're going to talk about the same stuff again, because there's generally your instructor, we have to build the foundation first before we can move on to some of the other stuff. And, another pet peeve is I think golf instruction is a little too overcomplicated. Don't you, Fred? I think, I don't.
I'm kind of blanket on this one because as someone who has over 400 hours of interviews with golf instructors, I've heard the gamut, right?
Sure.
And it depends on the person.
Sure.
It depends what the student wants, but yes, it can be.
Maybe it's because I work with mostly average, quote unquote, the average golfer. And if you look at what the handicaps are out there, the average golfer is struggling to break 100. So that's the average guy. And so this guy and gal, they don't have the consistency in their setup, they're not set up properly. They're not aimed properly. We have to work on these core foundational things that aren't necessarily the most exciting things to talk about, but they're absolutely critical to building a consistent and repeatable golf swing. And I see sometimes I'll have students or I'll see other instructors out there talk about such sophisticated things. And it's like the average guy, if he tries that, it's just going to fall apart.
Yep. Wow. Well, this has been great. I really appreciate your insights. And people want to go to fixyourgame.com and take some online lessons with Brant. It doesn't matter where he is, doesn't matter where you are, but if you're looking for someone who understands how to use video and makes it simple and makes it to get back and forth to you, you don't have to be there, but you have to practice. Come on, folks. I mean, I understand that pet peeve. It's really kind of funny that I have friends who I don't want to know about that kind of stuff. I don't want to hear. Okay, fine. Well, you go to the driving range? No, I take a couple of swings before I warm up. I don't even want to hit a whole bucket before a round because I don't want to waste any swings. It's like, well, then don't have any expectations of breaking 90 today, pal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the only way we learn. That's the only way human beings learn anything is through practice and repetition, and just think of when you're teaching your kids how to read. You don't just tell them their ABCs once and they can read. I mean, it takes constant repetition and hours of practice, and that's anything we do is.
Oh, that was my mistake.
Is that why? Can your kids read, Fred?
Yeah. I don't want to go there. Barely. Well, they don't read my texts. Maybe it was my fault. Anyway, Brant, it was great talking to you, man. Good luck. Thanks so much. Stay well, stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
Hey, it's time to announce the winner of our latest Golf Smarter giveaway, which is a Swing-A-Line from Chris McGinley and SwingTrainer.com. Congratulations to Ron Simmons of Chesapeake, Virginia. Of all the entries received for this great training aid, Ron was one of only 3 left-handed golfers to register. But don't worry, Ron, it works for both lefties and righties with no adjustment required. I'll be sending you an email and copying the folks at swingtrainer.com to get your swing-a-line delivered directly to you. And please keep me posted on how it works for you. I'm really curious to know if it helps you as much as it's been helping me. Now, if you didn't win and are still interested in getting a swing-a-line for yourself, no problem. There's a 15% discount for Golf Smarter listeners with the checkout code GolfSmarter at swingtrainer.com. Our next giveaway is always popular because our next drawing is for a custom fit, brand new putter from Seemore Putters with the patented rifle scope technology, which eliminates doubt from your target line. It is fabulous how well it works. I love my Seemore putter and really appreciate their generosity. It's from our friends at Seemore.com. Deadline to enter is Sunday, July 5th, 2020 at golfsmarter.com/giveaway 2020. Or just go to golfsmarter.com and click on the banner at the top of the homepage. This week on Golf Smarter Mulligans number 62, we bring back a very special episode. This is one of those episodes when people say, so who have you interviewed? I always bring back episode number 150 from our archives back in 2008. It features two separate conversations that were recorded on site at Sonoma Golf Course just before the Charles Schwab Cup Championship. We speak to Loren Roberts, winner of the Charles Schwab Cup the year before, and actually he won the year after. We also did a video interview with Loren for Golf Smarter TV, and I'll share it on this week's blog post at golfsmarter.com. The episode kicks off with a joyous conversation with Jim Thorpe, who won the Schwab Cup Championship the previous 2 years in 2006 and 2007. Thorpe was inducted into the National Black Golf Hall of Fame in 1986. He grew up on a golf course where his father was a groundskeeper, so everything in golf he does reverts back to the land and the condition of the course. Here's a taste.
People ask you, why do you play golf for a living, or what caused you to play golf for a living? To me, it was a way of supporting your family and making a good living. But to travel from North Carolina to California, from California to Arizona, from Arizona to Hawaii, and you see these magnificent golf courses that has been laid out. You know, man add a little water to, add a little seed to, a little fertilizer to, then he manicures it, and nature takes over from that. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, just you stop and think about it.
You really are the son of a superintendent, aren't you? Everything comes back to the golf and the green.
I love it. I honestly, I love it. It's something that you would close your eyes that you see. I never forget. You know, at home, the first thing I do in the morning, I jump up in the morning. We live probably 150 yards off our golf course. I jump up in the morning, put my shorts on, my tennis shoes. I don't jog anymore. I just walk across the golf course. And, you know, you look at the dew on the golf course, the beautiful flowers, the trees are blooming. It's just a sight to behold. And if you love the game, if you love nature, then you can never do anything to destroy a golf course.
That's episode 62 that will be released this Friday. Golf Smarter Mulligans is pulled from the archives of 400-plus hours of Golf Smarter. So, Golf Smarter on Tuesday, Golf Smarter Mulligans on Friday to prep you for your weekend round. Please subscribe to both of these podcasts wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please use @GolfSmarter on social media or just click on the Hey Fred button at golfsmarter.com.